Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and we're going to be talking about the crazy pandemonium that unfolded at Astroworld, and just kind of, I guess, discussing the entire thing. I actually ended up waiting a little bit to make this video because it was a lot of really crazy stories that was coming out of this, man, and we didn't really have, I think, enough proof for some of these claims, and I didn't want to just be out here making, these claims, I guess, go viral or giving them any sort of attention when we didn't know anything. For instance, in specific, I wanted to wait and find out more about the crowd rumor that somebody had been running through the event injecting people with drugs, and unfortunately it does appear that that was somewhat confirmed by the security slash police, whatever you want to call them, that were on staff. Apparently one of the security guards was jabbed in the neck and ended up passing out and had to be treated and everything, so there's a lot to cover, man. It's a really unfortunate story, and the truth is, I actually almost ended up going to this festival because I am a huge Travis Scott fan. And I know people who have gone in previous years and have explained how much fun that they had at this concert and stuff like that, saying it was like a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I genuinely was like actually considering going to this, but I ended up being too lazy to buy the tickets. And I kind of reconsidered it because it is actually a pretty far away concert. I'd have to fly and stay and whatnot. And I didn't really feel like kind of planning all that out. So I missed out on tickets. And then unfortunately, of course, this has kind of all unfolded. And it's just kind of crazy to think like what could have genuinely happened had I gone. So I want to kind of talk about this whole thing and just provide all the information that I can and explain what's going on because, well, if you didn't know, Travis Scott is, I guess, getting canceled. This has been top of the news ever since it's really started to unfold, and there's been hashtags trending on social media, including hashtag cancel Travis Scott, because, well, a lot of people, realistically, I think most people now are starting to either outright blame Travis Scott for what happened, or partially at least blame him for his, I guess, conduct during his performance, his inability to stop the show, and I guess overall general planning issues that could have really prevented this. So if you did not know, 8 people were killed and dozens more were injured in a crowd surge and in multiple other instances at the Astroworld Festival, which was slated to take place from November 5th and 6th and featured a bunch of top rap acts that were supposed to perform. These included Lil Baby, Don Toliver, Travis Scott, who also brought Drake out on stage to perform with him, so it was definitely a star-studded event. There was going to be a pretty great lineup if you are a rap fan, so there have been photos and videos that have widely circulated on social media that just show pandemonium ensuing in the crowd, just showing ridiculous things unfolding, and of course, there's been a pretty massive rumor going around that somebody in the crowd was basically going and randomly injecting people with drugs in a needle, and unfortunately this was confirmed true. Like I said at the beginning, a security officer was supposedly poked in the neck, fell unconscious, and had to be treated. So that was actually true, and in general, the entirety of what unfolded was just not only unnecessary, but it was completely avoidable. I mean, everything that happened could have been prevented with a multitude of different things. The first thing that obviously should have been better was the planning. I don't know exactly how to plan, obviously, a festival in which 50,000 people attend, but it was a sold-out show, and with all of the money that it makes, they could have done more to add more security, add more paramedics and first responders, and that could have really dramatically altered how this all really went down. For instance, in multiple videos on social media, you can see that even a lot of the people on staff seemed to be untrained. Like, a lot of the EMTs and the medical units that were there just genuinely didn't even know what the fuck to do because, well, in situations where they can get to people who were needing medical attention, they had to deal with the fact that the whole fucking crowd was acting completely just like maniacs, and it doesn't really seem like they were ready for the chaos that really unfolded. So, this was not the only pandemonium that unfolded at the show, of course. There's also videos on social media. Unfortunately, I can't play most of the clips or show you most of them because, well, there's the possibility that dead people are in the videos, and also on top of that, pretty much all of the music at the concert was copyrighted, so I literally just dealt with a video a few days ago being blocked worldwide for a copyright claim, and I don't really think that I want to deal with that again, and obviously would make no sense to put this video out and 2 hours later it's gone from copyright, so However, there was a video I kind of want to talk about too. It showed the outer perimeter, the fencing that holds people out of the event, was being torn down and ran through by dozens of people. There was a crowd surge there where people were literally trampling people to get through the fence. There's no security guards stopping them, nothing like that. It's just literally dozens of people breaking through the VIP sections of the festival, knocking the fence lines down, pushing their way through. And you can see in the video where people are like tripping over each other, and other people will just climb right over their back and walk over them and just run into the event like nothing's happening. And a lot of the deaths and injuries were unfortunately the result of a crowd surge. If you don't know what this is, basically at concerts or realistically any venue or event where you get a bunch of people in a very small area, a lot of the times people can end up crushing each other to death and suffocating because so many people get packed in like sardines that it literally physically prevents you from breathing. And this can happen from a multitude of different situations. And from this, it appears that the crowd surge was toward the front of the crowd where the performance was going on, and it appears that people were pushing their way towards the front of the crowd, basically trampling one another and the concert goers that were paid tickets to be sitting up there in order to see a closer view of Travis Scott and the other artists on stage. Unfortunately, people were acting like fucking idiots here, and people have defended this by saying, oh, well, it's a big concert, what do you expect? Well, I don't expect people to do the shit that they were doing. People should not be running through the crowd, injecting one another with fucking random drugs. People should not be getting crushed to death and asphyxiating because they can't get out of the fucking crowd surge. People should not be, of course, bulldozing down VIP barriers and running into the event fucking scot-free. One of the videos that really pissed me off was a video of what appeared to be some sort of like small ambulance cart that was trying to get its way through the crowd to attend to some of the concert goers that needed it. And instead of people obviously splitting out of the way, giving a path for them to operate and treat people who needed it, concert goers instead got on the roof of the vehicle and on the hood of it and started fucking dancing and screaming, basically prohibiting any sort of first response from going through and helping people in the crowd. And of course, this is a crowd in which 8 people died. So it's really hard to imagine and think about the fact that had these fucking morons not been acting like barbarians in the crowd, that people's lives could have legitimately been saved. The entirety of the actions at this show were just ridiculous from a subsection of people. It's not like everyone in the crowd was doing this, of course, but the fact that it was so widespread in the crowd makes it appear that the entirety of the crowd was unruly. And this whole situation has led to this massive, I guess, news story that we've seen. And Travis Scott has formally replied to the situation. He did release a video in which he announced that, you know, he was devastated and that they're working to identify families so that they can assist them through everything. The rapper Roddy Ricch, who was scheduled to perform, is donating all of his proceeds that he was going to earn from Astroworld to the families affected, which I think is a very genuine and good thing to do. But people are really blaming Travis Scott for this entire thing. If you didn't know, Astroworld is Travis Scott's festival. It's not like this is like some Lollapalooza where they just invite everybody to come do it or whatever. This is his event. It takes place every single year, and in a bunch of the videos on social media, people claim that the people in the front of the crowd were yelling to him to stop and he was just blatantly ignoring their cries for help. There's a video that shows what appears to be an unconscious person in the front of the crowd, maybe less even than 20 feet away from Travis Scott, and Travis Scott's basically watching this guy be lifted through the crowd and does not stop the performance. There's a clip from the Apple Music live stream in which people come onto the stage and appear to whisper something to Travis Scott, and he just basically waves it off and says, "What the fuck is that?" to a very visible ambulance in the crowd. And even concert goers say that the cries for help were loud enough that Travis Scott should have been able to tell something was wrong in the crowd and that he did not act. And there's also a bunch of people defending Travis Scott, saying that during the chaos of the concert, there would be no way for him to tell that something was wrong in the crowd, that Travis Scott obviously did not set up all of the details, I guess, for this event, so that doesn't really make him liable. When it comes down to the blaming in this situation, I honestly think that there's too many people to blame to count, to be real. Yes. Do I think that Travis Scott is responsible? Yes, but only to a certain degree. I feel like people are saying that everything that happened is his fault, and I don't think that's the case. Does Travis Scott have a history of amplifying his crowds and telling them to disrespect security and jump barriers? Yes, he does. This has been a well-documented thing, and even the fans that go to his concerts are often called Ragers, which is a name that they've kind of, I guess, adopted. And at the end of the day, it is his event. It's very clear that he was going to face the blame for this situation because, I mean, it's Travis Scott's Astroworld, okay? It's not like it was Lollapalooza and this happened during Megan Thee Stallion's event, right? This was something with his name slapped on it, and therefore he's going to face a lot of the public blame for it. But there were other people also at fault in this situation. For instance, the people around Travis Scott that probably did the majority of the technical planning for this event, they genuinely opened up a lot of this situation to happen. For instance, the security detail that was at this event was piss poor to say the least. I mean, there were so many different incidents in the crowd that it was ridiculous, okay? I mean, even security guards being jabbed in the neck with fucking drug injections, that should never be happening, right? There should have been more security at this event, and there should have been better and more trained and more medics and paramedics in that crowd. The staffing for this event, even though it didn't directly cause everything, definitely contributed because, well, if there was more security to handle people acting like fucking lunatics in the crowd, you know, a lot of this would not have happened. Maybe you wouldn't see videos of dozens of people trampling each other tearing down the VIP section. Maybe there wouldn't have been someone going through the crowd injecting people with legitimate fucking drugs, which has been rumored by the crowd to have been fentanyl. And if there were better medics and more of them, there's a good chance that maybe they would have been able to treat people in the crowd. And if people in the crowd would have been decent fucking people and actually allowed the medics through, that also really could have contributed to the unfortunate circumstances of this whole situation. So, like I said, Travis Scott is being supposedly canceled on social media following all this. And the question is, you know, will, I guess, Travis Scott's career be affected by this? I do think so, yes. For the rest of his career, I mean, the deadly Astroworld incident is going to be on his record, right? That's going to be part of everything ever talked about Travis Scott. You know, when it goes down at the end of it all, when he retires, this will still be a major moment in his career. Is this enough to legitimately cancel Travis Scott, though? I'm not necessarily sure. I mean, yeah, the hashtag's trending on social media, but Travis Scott's one of the biggest artists in the world, you know? He's got collaborations with everybody. He's got Utopia, which is a project coming up. And even right before this, he released 2 brand new songs. So, I mean, at the end of the day, will it ruin his career? I'm not necessarily sure. What it is doing, though, is opening up him and his team to a lot of lawsuits from these families and concert goers who were injured in the whole situation. So there's that to deal with, but it was really an avoidable catastrophe that happened. If people could go to a concert and act like normal fucking people and just enjoy the music, enjoy the vibes, and if you are gonna act crazy, just mosh out. You know what I'm saying? Mosh pits are common at shows and stuff like that. That I understand, bro, but going around and fucking disrespecting the ambulances by climbing on them when a mass casualty incident is unfolding, people fucking breaking barriers and assaulting people and injecting them with drugs, I don't get how that's fun. Maybe I am just too much of a fucking old head, but I don't see how that would have been enjoyable. You know what I mean? What the fuck is the fun in that? You're ruining the experience for everybody else. People died because of this fucking pandemonium, and you think that this is an enjoyable experience? I don't know. People are going to, though, continue to blame Travis Scott. That much is apparent, and to a certain extent, it's a little bit understandable. I see myself a little split on blaming him. I feel like a lot of people are really to blame, but I do think he holds a little bit of it. I mean, at the end of the day, it was their responsibility hosting the show to make sure that something like this doesn't happen. And of course, you know, when you're in a crowd and everything, things can go wrong at any given second. I mean, there's 50,000 people there. Shit can go south at any given moment, and people have to anticipate that, but there's nothing you can do in some of these situations, right? If someone forcibly injects you with a drug, or you get trampled by people not acting fucking correctly, there's not much you can do in that situation, and that's what's scariest to think about it all. There were children in this crowd. One of the people reported to be dead is rumored to be a 10-year-old child, and there's videos circulating where someone is holding what appears to be a 5-year-old child in the crowd. I have to say, what the fuck were these kids doing at this concert, okay? I get it, Travis Scott's been in Fortnite, he's had these McDonald's collaborations, he's popular with kids, but if I were a parent, man, there's no way that my 10-year-old child is ever going to a fucking rap festival, okay? Where 50,000 people are gonna be. Not happening. I'm not bringing a 5-year-old to a concert either, because that is not the environment for a child to be in. Even if it's an artist that kids like, it's too fucking loud, it's too crowded, drugs and alcohol were in the crowd. And people died. This was not a crowd that children should have ever have been in, and unfortunately, they were. So this was just a horrible situation that could have been avoided. And I mean, I feel like obviously this is probably the end of Astroworld. I don't foresee any more of these kind of concerts going on, so it's really just a damn shame that you can't have anything good anymore without people finding some way to fuck it up. Whether it's, you know, a lack of good management, whether it's people acting ballistic when they shouldn't be. People always find a way to fuck these kinds of things up, man. What was supposed to be an event, a concert for tens of thousands of people to make a lifetime memory at, has unfortunately scarred them for the rest of their life if they were lucky enough to escape with it. So thank you guys for watching this video. Obviously, it's not monetized given the circumstances and the tragedy that's unfolded, but I did really want to talk about this because Travis Scott, once again, is one of my favorite rappers and artists on the planet, and I did actually consider going here. And it's sad for me to realize that, like, had I gone to this concert, I could have been fucking killed because other people just decide not to act properly. Other people holding these events didn't do enough to prevent this, right? So many different things went wrong. So with that being said, though, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about Astroworld and signing out.